Hello everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Crowdsourced challenge where we've got the Wheel of Rules ready to go. This has all the rules that you guys came up with in yesterday's video, and it's going to delete one. It's going to pick one and delete it. So that'll be added into the rule set along with the original 5. So let's find out. Kind of scared of some of these. Let's find out what the 6th rule is. And it is a final goal. We need to own all the fields at the end. That's what we're aiming towards. That's that's one of the nicer ones. So leave your comments below for what you'd like to see as a rule, and I'll add them to the Wheel of Rules. The existing ones that are there will stay. I'll just add in more and more and more until the wheel is full, and I don't know how long that'll take. But I'll add more and more until the wheel's full, and then I'll have to say, no, you can't add any more rules because it's full. So we now have our final goal to own all the fields on the map. I'm going to save that somewhere and get into the video itself, the farm sim. I'll catch you guys in game. And we're in game, we're in field 3, and we've got our seeder on the Ford. We're using the Ford again just by coincidence. I was using this in yesterday's stream, so we're just continuing on the job. We're going to finish seeding field 3 today with our now 6 rules. One of which isn't really a rule, it's just a final goal, and I'm really glad that it was a nice, easy one, just to try and own all the fields. There are a couple of rules that I did exclude from yesterday's comments that didn't make any sense, or would have been impossible, or there was a reason that I couldn't use it. One of which was that I should own only UK and Ireland equipment. There is very little equipment actually made in the UK and Ireland, so that would have meant that I wouldn't be able to have a tractor. Or if I did, that it would all be New Holland or JCB, which that would limit me too much, I think. And most of the field work and grasswork stuff would have been just gone. Now what I'm doing in the series is I'm trying to use stuff that I do see in real life. And it's not going to be a rule, it's just going to be something that I'll strive to do. So eventually I might start using some stuff that I don't really see ever. But the aim is to kind of have it somewhat true to life, for me at least. Now, I did download the 11090 that Glengar suggested, and I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. I do have it, Glengar, it's not activated, I haven't looked at it yet. I'll be doing that after the video. You can see that I'm recording quite late at night. It's 25 past 10 almost, and I'm recording this. This will be up as per usual, hopefully, unless something goes horrifically wrong, the upload fails and I don't realise it until 5 AM. But the plan is for everything to just be normal today, hopefully. The reason that I'm recording so late is some stuff kicked off on Discord after the stream yesterday, and I had to stick around and try and deal with that nonsense. Also, I was waiting for food and tea and stuff, and all the various limitations that I generally go by in the evenings, which is why I don't stream up past 7 too much. I hope you guys are enjoying Shamrock Valley, the series at least. I know this is only episode 2, but you know, it's always nice to hope you're enjoying. As the rules pile up, I might enjoy this less and less, but it might get more and more interesting, more and more punishing. And I should say, if you're in the streams and you've come up with a rule, please leave it in the comments of a video, because I can't cache stream chat. I can't see stuff. Once it goes off the screen on stream, that's it, it's done, it's gone. I can't just write it down as I go along and that kind of stuff. So if you want to suggest a rule, leave it in the video comments, because it just makes life easier for me. Because then they're all somewhere. They're all in the comment section of the videos, and I can just go through the various videos comment sections and grab the rules and put them into the Wheel of Misfortune, as probably should have called it the Wheel of Misfortune, but the Wheel of Rules. And I can select rules as I go along there. That wheel, by the way, just does randomly choose them. I tested it a bit without deleting rules, and it does just 100% at random pick one of the selections. I think there's currently 20 or 30 spaces on the board, and really glad that I picked something nice for me today. Hopefully, as time goes on, it keeps being nice to me, and you guys keep being nice to me. You don't just suggest utter evil. Because some of the rules are no auto load ever for any reason. I'm still technically allowed to drive through fences and hedges and stuff. You know, I'm still allowed to take my usual shortcuts where I bash through hedges and stuff like that and smash everything. That's kind of good because it just makes it a bit easier for me, but as time goes on, that rule is more and more likely to be chosen unless you guys keep suggesting more. Also, I'm not putting duplicate rules into that wheel just because it would kind of be pointless. Because I did see a few people suggesting the no auto load. There's only one no auto load rule in there, or one auto load segment in that wheel, because I didn't feel it was right to have like one rule be more likely to come up than another. And sometimes I'll tweak rules slightly so that it's a bit more playable. Like somebody suggested 6 meter or less equipment, which would be fine, except that would mean windrowers too. And windrowers tend to be bigger than 6 meters. Decent windrowers, at least. So that rule got a little tweak just to allow me to use a decent sized windrower. But I'm really kind of glad that it chose... I'm genuinely glad that it chose a nice easy one for me. And end goal for this series is to own all the fields in Shamrock Valley. Which you could buy 1 or 2 now, and it is kind of tempting to buy something like Field 4 and get a bit more grass on the go. Because I do plan on having all the animals on this map eventually. Buying Field 2 or Field 4 would be nice. I think Field 4, because it'd link... Yeah, it'd link the main yard to Field 3. Field 2 would as well, but it'd be a bit more of a direct link in 4. And it's just going to be nice to see how this all kind of pans out over time, and as the rules get more and more convoluted. I do have a Google Doc that I'm tracking the rules in, by the way. I will make that public very soon, in case anybody wants to join in and on the state of mental anguish that is waiting for new rules to appear. Because I don't see many challenges where I know that I've tweaked rules in my challenges in the past, but where the rules are ever growing and ever becoming more restrictive. Now there will have to be, I think at some point I will have to say, okay, that's all the rules I'm going to use, because it would then get to the point where like you guys are ruling out individual pieces of equipment. Or individual jobs have to be done in a very specific way, which it's going a bit too far. Because I need to have some wiggle room as well. Just so that I don't end up having to make the same video over and over. Like, I accuse YouTube of wanting it from people so much. But, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get this all done today, because I am unfortunately kind of limited on time, because it's so late in the evening. I'm going to have to just record this straight through, so there won't be any time-lapse segment like there was in yesterday's video, unfortunately. The added bonus of now having some rules in the wheel of rules is I can, if I'm up early enough, start pre-recording videos and just select the rules from the existing list. And that wheel just means that those rules are completely randomly chosen. I have no input on which one comes in when, and which ones do and don't get chosen. So it's gonna get very interesting very quickly. You might notice as well when I was introducing the wheel of rules that I said the one that gets chosen is deleted. It's so that I don't end up getting the same rule constantly. Because it's selecting new rules. Why would I want to, you know, have the same rule come in 3 different times when it's permanently active once it comes in? If you're wondering why some of this field is ploughed and some of it's cultivated, it's because I got lazy when I was setting up. Because I realised I was approaching 6 hours of just setup, and just used creator tools to cultivate the field, because it saved me so much time. I am doing pretty much everything at the moment manually, because you know, with seasons there's not a lot that you can do in one go. Day 2 of early spring is going to be interesting because I'm using 6-day seasons. It's going to be interesting to try and figure out what the hell I'm going to do. Because I've got the fields ploughed and cultivated already, and this is the last field we need to seed. So I might end up getting another field or 2 just so we have something to do for the remainder of spring. It might be a grass field we need to roll or something, or I might just skip a day and move into mid-spring or late spring so that we can get some silage done. Not 100% sure what I'll do yet, but I'll figure something out. Presumably quite quickly, because the skip will have to happen in the next, in today's stream even. Not tomorrow's, today's stream. I need to get used to the weird time that it is recording for the next day. Kind of glad we're still at 100,000. I know that there's been some buying and selling of equipment temporarily on the stream because I rolled the John Deere, and I had to get rid of the telehandler that I had from the first time I rolled the John Deere off camera. But it's just me trying to get stuff that'll fix a problem, and unfortunately the John Deere is the only front loader, so I will have to cheat stuff in to get the Deere back on its feet. So what I'm going to do when I'm finished recording, and probably what I'm rendering, is test out the 11090 that Glengar linked me. It's on LS Fin, which is a Finnish website, entirely in Finnish, and it's a pain to try and get around because Google Translate doesn't work properly for it. But what I'll do is I've already downloaded it. I'll put it into a test save and give it a runabout and see what it's like. If I like it, then I'll swap the 18090 directly for the 11090 turbo and be all happy, and probably swap out the engine note as well, because I like the engine note of the 180. Now this is something this seating setup, it looks okay in FS17, you know, it looks nice. Also the rear wheels of this Ford aren't exactly happy about everything. You know, it looks really nice in FS17. I'm looking forward to FS19 when there's going to be a pipe going around from this side, on this side of the tractor, from the seed box on the front to the actual planter on the back. That's going to be really nice. I'm looking forward to that. One of the big nice things that FS19 is bringing in. And something that I'm doing, it's not a rule yet, but somebody has suggested this as a rule, is I am using the big bags to bring seed and fertilizer around the map, because it's a lot easier than having to go back to the yard every single time I need more seeds or I need more fertilizer. Just makes life that small bit easier. I'm going to put down the seed box and see if that makes the Ford any happier. It's not too happy with terrain response, as it turns out. That's why you'll notice the rear right wheel is sometimes just spinning up a lot at random. It gets angry with terrain response, which is a bit of a shame, but you know what happens. And as I said in yesterday's stream, this map is now in pending release, which means Giants have a big red button that releases mods. When they press it, Shamrock will be one of those mods coming out to you guys on PC only. It unfortunately failed console testing due to some texture issues which would be fairly easy to fix. Shader and texture issues. I've seen the fail log like I said yesterday. And they're all kind of small things that would be relatively easy to fix for Oxy. He knows more than enough to fix it all. So hopefully it'll only be maybe a week or two delayed for you guys that are on console. I know that it sucks that it's delayed for you guys. But with the testing being so much more strict for console, it's just one of those things that happens, I'm afraid. As much as I don't like it and you don't like it, it's one of those things. Testing is more strict because Sony and Microsoft have insisted on it being more strict. Because Sony and Microsoft have a lot of stuff they don't want going onto their consoles, and they're super picky about it, and unfortunately Giants isn't Bethesda and can't strong-arm them into changing their minds. As nice as it would be. It'd be a lot easier for modders if scripts and stuff like that was allowed on console, but some of the stuff, honestly, is because the consoles, because of the way the consoles are set up, they're just not powerful enough to run some of the stuff that modders do with mods. Like 4X maps. I'm gonna give a quick example. 4X maps. Consoles literally aren't powerful enough to run a 4X because, number one, there's a huge amount of memory allocated to the map in the first place. A lot more than a random map, let's say Oakfield, Shamrock Valley, West Coast, Lone Oak, something like that. Or Gwynfor or something. Although Gwynfor isn't on consoles. And secondly, there's a lot more to be rendered on a 4X generally, which means you need more RAM and VRAM, which consoles just don't have. Scripts, the reason scripts aren't allowed on consoles is because Sony and Microsoft, unfortunately, this is unfortunately true, some less scrupulous people have been known to put viruses into scripts in the past, and still do. And Sony and Microsoft don't want that happening to a console, which is a lot more vulnerable because there's no antivirus software on consoles. And Sony and Microsoft don't want people effectively suing them because, hey, my console's broken because of a game because you don't have any antivirus software for this thing. Or you don't have any way of preventing viruses and it's your console that broke and I want a refund. And game developers don't want people going to them and saying, hey, your game broke my PS4. I want you to buy me a new PS4. That's not something anybody wants, so that's why scripts aren't allowed on console. For anybody wondering, any who might be wondering, that's pretty much the reason why. I think Landy said this kind of privately, but I think it's true. He's right, and I think there's a few people that are realizing this. I think Shamrock Valley is the last really big big map to come out in FS17. This is the swan song of the major maps. Definitely for OxygenDavid and Bullet Bill, this is the last Frontier map that'll be released. But there's not many more maps that I know of that are in production right now. There's Dusty Dave's Bessie Beneath, which I think his current plan is FS UK for that one. Just because it's still a little while off being done. He's pushing his luck time-wise, I think, but it's still a little while off being done. Nathan's working on White Oak for FS17, I think, and that's really pushing his luck. Nathan 6930, he's really pushing his luck with that one. I don't think he's going to get it done in time. But there's no real maps that I've heard a lot of people talking about and a lot of people excited about in the way. Unless somebody's keeping something super secret that is going to blow us all away. This is the last kind of big mod release, apart from obviously Black Sheep's Skitters and stuff, and Peter J's new Massey that he's working on, and hopefully Nishma's Abbeys. Really hope Nishma finishes those Abbeys. But we're in the real end game of FS17 now, and everybody's shutting up shop for the kind of between games break. Until people know what can be done to maps and stuff for FS19, there's no point in working on them. The modelers around the place are learning new things right now and working on stuff for FS19. They can do that because models are models. But the guys who make maps, Bullet Bill, OxygenDavid, Oxy's I think gone to work on models and stuff. Bullet Bill I think is starting to learn Blender at the moment, or is working on some stuff in Blender. Because now's the time to do it if you're a mapper, because you don't know anything about FS19, you probably won't until it comes out. And then the hard work begins of learning the game and learning what's changed and learning all the new things that Giants put in. And that's the bit that always annoys everybody. It's great for us players, but for modders it's a pain in the backside because, well, what new mechanics do I need to worry about? What new thing is there that's going to trip me up constantly? What new thing is going to be a pain to implement fully and properly and correctly? And mappers always have that headache with the new game. And modders do as well. But with vehicle and equipment mods, I don't want to say it's a bit easier. It's easier insofar as 90% of the work is the model, and the in-gaming, generally speaking, doesn't change too much. Changes a bit, but not as wide-ranging of a change as maps get, where there's a lot of new stuff constantly in maps, and converting becomes very difficult, if not impossible, at times. You can introduce problems that nobody actually thought about. Like weird FPS issues. Looking at you, Sandy Bay and Thornton and Cobra and the West Coast, and all the converted maps that Oxy and Bill brought out, because nobody knows what caused the FPS issues on those maps. But they were there. And the only thing we could really rule that those FPS issues as being was a weird conversion error. That just happened to cause FPS issues. It wasn't actually something that existed. So you guys have probably watched a few videos of Shamrock and a few streams of Shamrock now. I want you, as well as rule suggestions, or I'd like you to, at the very least, as well as rule suggestions, which would be put into the Wheel of Rules, as you saw at the beginning of the video, I'd like you guys to leave your thoughts on Shamrock now in the comments, because now myself, Landy, and all the guys have been allowed to roam free on the map. We don't have any stuff that Oxy wants us to show off specifically. We don't have any stuff that we think is broken. We're not going to show off as a result. We don't have anything that we're trying to skirt around. So what do you guys think of the maps now that we are doing this 100% freestyle, just running around the maps, playing them properly for once? With all of our different ideas. I know SFTN's doing a role play, Landy's doing one of his normal Let's Plays. Simulate's doing a thing, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if Daggerwin's done anything video-wise for Shamrock Valley yet, but I'm sure he'll come up with something interesting and cool. Am I forgetting anybody who has the map? I don't think so. So you got a lot of different ideas going with this one map. Which I always say, if you see a lot of people doing weird different things on maps, it means it's a good map, because if it can generate that many different ideas, and I was tempted to do roleplay, but kind of changed my mind at the 11th hour when I realized, number one, that there'd be a bunch of people doing roleplays on this map because it's so suited to it, and number two, that maybe a challenge would be really fun. Force me to play it completely differently to everybody else, because a roleplay is just a normal Let's Play with characters in, for the most part. A challenge, especially this one, you know, I'm constantly having to change how I'm playing the game, because a rule might say one day that I'm not allowed to use... Yeah, or... Let's see, what kind of weird rule could I come up with right now that would change how I play the game? Like, I might say that I'm not allowed to use hired workers, which would make things a lot more difficult. I know I've been doing everything manually up to this point, but moving forwards I will be implementing courseplay and hired workers and follow me and stuff. But I know there's a couple of rules suggested already that are you can't use hired workers but can use follow me. Or you can't use hired workers at all. Now I've taken the rule that says you can't use workers but can use follow me because honestly using follow me is just a convenience more than anything else. It's something that just makes the game a small bit easier and would allow me, if the no tabbing rules, the various no tabbing rules that people have suggested came in, and there's one that says no teleporting, which I count as different because I can teleport around using the map instead of tabbing. If one of those comes in, then I'll need something so that I can bring multiple tractors around the map. For example, with the seeding here, I would need to bring the John Deere up to this field as well as the Ford so that I'd have some way of getting more seeds into this thing. Right now it's just, right now I can just drive the John Deere up and down because I can tab, but if there was no tabbing, then I'd need a way to get the John Deere up here at the same time as the tractor. Yeah, the rules can change how I have to look at the map and how I have to play things, and I always find that really fun and interesting about different challenges and having different rule sets. I know one person suggested I just do the Insanity Challenge, but honestly, I don't think that'd suit this map too much. The Insanity Challenge was kind of based around bigger fields, like on the West Coast specifically. Because that made the map really, really difficult. And I don't think it'll work here, so... Well, not too much anyway. Plus, you guys know how long it took the Insanity Challenge to get to the end of year 1. I mean, it took nearly 50 hours, so maybe that would be a terrible idea just from the viewpoint of... it would take ages to do anything, even on this map, and it wouldn't necessarily be the most interesting videos, because they would have to be a lot longer. At least at this start of coming, yeah, it takes me a little while to do things. I've been seeding this field for 25 minutes straight now, and we're not quite done, but we're nearly done. And that's with a 4-meter piece of equipment. It just kind of... There's an ease factor in the way that I've chosen the equipment here. It's still difficult, it still takes a little while, but it's a bit easier than... a lot easier than the Insanity method. I will say, by the way, that combines are actually being exempted from the horsepower rule. Just because combines tend to be city horsepowers anyway. I should have mentioned that in the last episode, but it didn't occur to me that combines are actually just weird high horsepowers. So I will be allowing myself, if I need to get like a Lexion or something, just because I might need the extra grain tank capacity, and yeah, unfortunately that'd up the horsepower to like 500 or something. But that said, Lexions are used in Ireland. I've seen everything up to and including a New Holland CR1090 driving around and harvesting in fields near me, so... It kind of gives you guys an idea of the kind of combines that I am currently allowed to use. There's no rule saying that I can't. And there's even some loopholes I've already found in other rules that could allow me to use stuff like that as well. And the added grain tank capacity would pretty much be the only reason I'd use the Lexion. I wouldn't go much past a... probably like a 7-meter header on these fields. Just because otherwise they'd be a bit kind of silly, in a way. 7.5, 8-meter header would kind of be perfect for these fields. Maybe, a 10-meter header at most. But you wouldn't want to go much bigger than that. Just looking at the time here, it is about time that I say I've been RainbowDave, you've been watching Farming Simulator 17, the crowdsourced challenge on Sandy Bay, Shamrock Valley. I knew that I'd say Sandy Bay sooner or later, and it was almost immediate. Good Lord, Dave, you idiot. You've been watching the crowdsourced challenge on Shamrock Valley. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button. Don't forget to leave your comments below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for more great videos and farm sim content from me. I'll leave you now by say... I'll leave you... Until next time, stay safe. And try not to trip over your words as much as I do. Goodbye.